In 2029, everything changed. A mysterious global blackout wiped out every trace of modern life, plunging the world into total darkness. Chaos exploded across continents, and anarchy reigned for decades. Entire nations collapsed. Governments vanished. From the ashes, small independent factions known as tribes rose to take their place. Each tribe created its own rules, its own identity. Some longed for peace and tried to rebuild what was lost. But others, they became obsessed with power, locked in endless battles, driven by blood and revenge, desperate to dominate what was left of shattered Europe. Fast forward to 2074, deep within a forest, three siblings from the peaceful tribe of origin Skino live, and Ilya are out hunting. But this isn't just any day. It's Ilya's initiation, his official passage into adulthood within the tribe. As they enjoy the quiet of the woods, a sudden roar tears through the sky. Something massive crashes nearby. It's a strange, damaged aircraft unlike anything they've seen. Kino is eager to check it out, but Liv stops him. She insists they must warn their father first. He's the leader of their tribe. They rush back to their village and report what they saw to Jakob. The aircraft wasn't ordinary, it looked almost like a spaceship, but Jakob is alarmed. He orders them to stay away. Our peace, he reminds them, has lasted only because we keep our distance from outsiders. Meanwhile, far away in the territory of a much larger tribe called Crow, one of the Lords Vara informs her leader Aya that her men have just shot down a flying object. It turns out the flying object was no ordinary aircraft, it was an Atlantean hook. Vara tells Aya that the wreckage landed inside Crimson territory, and urges him to let her retrieve it before any enemies get to it first. Aya, knowing that Atlantean tech could be the ultimate key to controlling the entire continent, gives Vara full approval and all the resources she needs for the mission. That same night, Ilya completes his initiation ceremony. The whole tribe celebrates his coming of age, but while the others cheer and feast, Ilya's mind is spinning. Questions race through his head: what exactly caused the blackout that destroyed the old world? And more importantly, where did that mysterious hover jet come from? The very next morning, Liv tries to convince Jakob to go back to the crash site. She argues that there could be survivors, people who need help. Jakob eventually agrees and brings along his 3 children, his trusted friend Mark, and a small group of men to investigate. When they arrive, the hover jet is a mess, its exterior ripped apart, smoke still curling from its engines. But there's one major surprise: the pilot is missing. Jakob studies the wreckage, baffled. Even with all his knowledge of the old world, he's never seen anything like this. While no one is looking, Ilya quietly picks up a small black box hidden in the wreckage and slips it into his pocket. Jakob then orders the children to head home, while he and Mark stay to search for the missing pilot. Kino and Liv follow his instructions, but Ilya has a different plan. Instead of going home, he sneaks off to his secret bunker, where he's been hiding old world relics for years. Once inside, he opens the box and is stunned to find the pilot alive. Though badly injured and bleeding fast, Ilya wastes no time. He bolts back toward the village to get medicine, before Ilya leaves to get help. He carefully hides the mysterious cube inside a locked chest. But just as he's about to sneak out with the medical supplies, Liv catches him. She instantly realizes what he's hiding. He's found the pilot. Without wasting a second, Liv and Kino follow Ilya straight to his hidden bunker. Inside, Liv helps tend to the wounded stranger, but it's clear he needs a real doctor, and fast. The siblings make a risky decision. They must bring the pilot back to their village for proper treatment. What they don't know is that Gray, a cunning Crow spy, has been silently watching their every move. Meanwhile, Jakob and Mark arrive at a neighboring tribe once protected by the Crimsons, but what they find is horrifying. Everyone is dead, the villagers, the Crimson soldiers, all slaughtered. As they search through the carnage, they come across one Crimson soldier barely clinging to life. With his final breath, the man whispers the chilling truth: the Crows, They did this. They were hunting the Atlantean pilot. Jakob and Mark are struck with terror. Their tribe is in danger. Without wasting another second, they sprint back to the village to prepare for what's coming. Back at the origin settlement, Ilya speaks to the pilot in private. The man, barely conscious, shares a shocking revelation: the cube holds a critical message for the Atlanteans, warning them of a deadly force rising in the east. He tells Ilya, "You must take it to the Ark. My people will know what to do." Ilya returns the cube to him and swears he'll help. Moments later, Jakob and Mark arrive and sound the alarm. They arm the villagers, shouting that the Crows are coming. And they're not wrong. Vara and her Crows are already at the gates. Just before launching their assault, the Crows inhale a strange gas, a powerful enhancer that sharpens their senses and fuels their rage. As they surround the village, Jakob steps forward and shouts, "We have what you want," hoping to buy time or reason with them. But Vara is done talking. With chillin.com, she tosses a severed villager's head to the ground. The message is brutal and clear: they want war. Without hesitation, the Crows charge in, and the entire village erupts into a brutal, blood-soaked battle. In the middle of the chaos, Ilya sprints back to the pilot, who is now barely conscious. The pilot hands him the cube and links it to him, saying it will now protect, guide, and lead him to the Ark. With urgency in his voice, he makes Ilya promise to complete the mission. Ilya nods, grips the cube tightly, and runs into the forest just as the battle grows more violent behind him. Meanwhile, both Kino and Yakub are overwhelmed and captured by the crows. Refusing to back down, fights fiercely against Grey. But Grey proves too strong. She stabs Liv, then throws her off a cliff, leaving her broken and motionless. Later, Varvara rounds up the surviving Orans. He had an artifact with him on Atlantean cube. She snarls, demanding to know where it is. She reveals that a boy was spotted escaping with it. When the villagers stay silent, Varvara begins executing them one by one. Even Mark is killed without hesitation. But when she sees Kino, something makes her pause. She changes her mind, spares him and orders the rest of the captives to be taken back to her settlement. Before leaving, she commands a few of her soldiers to stay behind and find the cube no matter what it takes. By the next morning, Liv wakes up barely alive, battered and bloodied, but still breathing. Slowly, painfully, she pulls herself through the forest. Then she hears voices. It's Grey talking just ahead. Liv creeps closer, silent as a shadow. In a flash, she lifts her crossbow and fires, hitting Grey. Now on the ground and wounded, Grey finds herself at knife point. Liv leans in, demanding answers. Grey finally breaks. She confesses that their tribe has been taken to protect a heavily guarded crow stronghold that has never been breached. But before Liv can do anything, she's suddenly surrounded. A unit of crimson soldiers appears. Led by a man named David, he steps in, seizes control, and escorts Liv back with them to their base in Arenberg. Meanwhile, wandering through another devastated part of the forest, Ilya stumbles upon the ruins of a settlement completely destroyed by the crows. Among the wreckage, he meets a scruffy scavenger named Moses, who's digging for anything valuable. Thinking Moses might be able to help with the cube, Ilya shows it to him. Moses' eyes light up. He instantly sees how rare and powerful the object is. He tells Ilya, "I can help fix this." But Moses has other plans. The moment Ilya lets his guard down, Moses snatches the cube and speeds off in his old truck, disappearing into the distance. Ilya is devastated. But just as a crow soldier ambushes him, ready to strike, a gunshot rings out. It's Moses's comeback. He kills the crow and saves Ilya's life at the last second. Not willing to take the risk, he urges Liv to use Grey to find a way into Liv returns to Grey as Salan this time. Grey gives her a critical piece of information: a secret tunnel hidden beneath the prison that leads straight out. Meanwhile, Ilya and Moses reach a gruff mechanic named Amina, who agrees to help repair the cube, but only if she gets 10% of whatever it has sold for. Ilya reluctantly agrees. Amina gets to work, and soon enough, the cube powers on. A red hologram of a pilot appears, landing somewhere on Nuon, but then the image vanishes. The cube shuts off again. It's still incomplete. Later, Liv takes a bold step. She recites the Crimson Oath and officially joins their ranks. Then, putting her plan into action, she tricks Grey by pretending they're escaping together. Once deep in the forest, Liv suddenly fires a flare into the sky, and within moments, crimson soldiers swarm in. They capture Grey again and escort both women back to base. Inside Braddock's prison, Kino uncovers something dangerous. Some inmates are stealing wool and bribing guards to look the other way. He confides in another prisoner, but it's a trap. That man betrays him. Soon, Kano is attacked by the corrupt prisoners. He fights back with everything he has, killing one of them before trying to escape, but it's too late. The guards storm in and drag him to Bloody and exhausted, Kino tells her the truth about the corruption, but she doesn't believe a word. Instead, with icy comes, Varva sentences him to death. Just as Kino is about to be executed, a dead prisoner's body is discovered with traces of wool inside his stomach. It's undeniable proof that Kino had been telling the truth all along. Vara doesn't waste a second. She glares at the corrupt guard and demands he confess in front of everyone. Without mercy, she tosses him a blade and coldly commands him to kill himself. Then, in a shocking twist, she spares Kino. The guilty prisoners are dragged to the gallows and hanged while Kino is whisked away to Varvara's private estate. There, he encounters a group of men just like him, strong, striking, once proud warriors. Now, they live as part of her bouge, a private circle kept purely for her own pleasure. That night, Kino is summoned. Varvara chooses him. In a chilling moment of dominance, she presses a knife to his throat and then becomes intimately close. Diet, another bouge member and once her favorite, watches the scene unfold, his eyes burning with jealousy. Meanwhile, far from the twisted estate, Ilya and Moses cross paths with a frightened refugee family. Fleeing from the east, the family speaks of something terrifying: black swarms, monstrous insect-like creatures that destroy everything in their path. Ilya's heart drops. This is what the pilot warned him about. Back at the Crimson base, preparations are underway. A secret mission is forming. The target, Braddock. David knows the risk. He keeps the mission secret, hidden even from the Crimson capital. But betrayal strikes from within. One of his own men turns on him. Suddenly, General Cameron, the powerful Crimson leader, arrives without warning. David is arrested, accused of treason. Meanwhile, Ilya and Moses press forward, heading into the dangerous lands of the Southern Empire to trade for a fusion module, the missing piece needed to repair the Atlantean cube. At a chaotic trading post, they meet Braca, a strange man obsessed with the past, especially the blackout. They offer him an old tablet as payment, and he agrees to the deal. But when Braca realizes the module is meant for an Atlantean cube, his demeanor changes. With a twisted grin, he snatches the cube and throws both Ilya and Moses out into the dust. Elsewhere, Varvara takes Kino and Daya to a grand party at Aya's estate. As Kino steps inside, he's shaken to the core. His father Jakob is there, serving as Aya's personal slave. Hiding his horror, Kino watches a brutal BGE match unfold. A fierce woman wins her freedom, earning her place as a full-fledged crow. Later that night, Varvara eyes Kino suspiciously and asks, "Who is Jakob to you?" Kino swallows his truth and lies. Just a former leader. As more crows appear on the horizon, the two flee together and manage to escape deep into the wilderness. Finally, safe for the moment, Ilya and Moses come to an agreement. Ilya will sell the cube, but only after he sees what's inside once it's fully repaired. Back at the Crimson base, Liv wastes no time. She tells David and his men everything she knows about the Atlantean pilot. David listens carefully and then asks the question on everyone's mind. What about the cube? Liv hesitates, then lies. She says she hasn't seen it. Instead, she shifts focus and presses him for information on Bratok, the place where her family is being held. David's expression darkens. He tells her the truth. Bratok is a fortress, nearly impossible to get into. No one's ever made it in alive, he says grimly. Later, a Crimson soldier named Sam takes Liv on a tour of the base. During their conversation, he shares a strange but chilling fact. The crows never lie. He then shows her a detailed map of Bratok and explains why it has never been breached. There are only two ways to enter: as a crow or as a slave. Despite everything, Liv refuses to back down. Desperate and determined, she heads to the prison cells to speak with Gray. Now captured and held at the Crimson base, Liv offers her a bold deal: help me sneak into Bratok and I'll help you escape. Gray agrees without hesitation. A few days later, deep within Bratok's cold walls, the captured members of the Origins tribe finally arrive. Varvara personally presents Jakob, the tribe's leader, to Aya as a gift, a twisted offering of loyalty. The remaining prisoners are dragged away to a brutal labor camp, where they're reforced to mine wool, a dangerous chemical that the crows inhale to boost their strength and aggression. But it comes with a deadly rule. Anyone caught stealing wool is executed on the spot and fed to pigs. Back at the Crimson base, Liv reveals her secret plan to David. She intends to take Gray into Bratok, find her family, and once she has solid information, help the Crimsons launch a rescue mission. David stares at her, silent. Then without a word, he turns and walks away. Meanwhile, far from the chaos, Ilya and Moses continue their journey, searching for someone who can fix the damaged cube. On the road, Ilya finally asked the burning question, "Do you know what caused the blackout?" Moses doesn't hesitate. He believes the Atlanteans caused the blackout. He explains that before the world plunged into darkness, no one even knew they existed. And yet after everything collapsed, their technology was the only one that survived. Even now, Atlantean tech is light years ahead of anything the tribes have ever seen. The only thing people know about them, Moses says, is that they're hidden somewhere on the lost Arca place no one has ever laid eyes on. At the same time, far away in the grim prison of Bratok, Kino hears whispers of a way out. There is a vicious event known only as the BGIA Bloodsport, where two prisoners are chosen to fight each other to the death. The prize: freedom, but it comes with a cruel twist. A winner must become a crow. To even be considered for the beat, a prisoner must be handpicked by Varvara herself. Kino realizes what he has to do. He needs to get her attention no matter what it takes. Meanwhile, the Crimsons recover the lifeless body of the Atlantean pilot and make another chilling discovery. The crows have captured the hoverjet. David grows increasingly uneasy. If the crows have the hoverjet, then there's a real chance they've also gotten their hands on the cube. Desperate to stay in Varvara's favor and earn his place in the Booge, Kino gives her everything she wants. At the trading post, Braca is at his limit. He struggles to unlock the cube's full power, growing more furious by the second. In a fit of rage, he drags Ilya and Moses back in for questioning. When Braca threatens to execute Moses, Ilya finally breaks. He spills the truth about the Atlanteans, the global blackout, and the horrifying black swarm sweeping in from the east. To prove it's real, Ilya activates the cube. Suddenly, a vivid red hologram bursts from it, a swarm of monstrous black creatures, devouring everything in their path. The vision is terrifying and undeniable. Braca stares in shock. He finally realizes this cube might hold the answers to the world's darkest mystery. Maybe it could even help reverse the damage. He agrees to let them go, but only if they vow to share every discovery they make. Back at the Crimson base, Liv is on a deadly mission. She prepares to assassinate General Cameron using a vial of poison Sam gave her. Her heart races as she walks into the meeting. But Cameron doesn't lie. In a surprising turn, he opens up calm, honest, and determined. He wants peace. He offers to trade Gray for Liv's captured family, and even invites her to join the diplomatic team. Liv is stunned by his sincerity. Her hand trembles, she can't go through with it. Later, she returns to David. "I believe in Cameron now," she says quietly. "He deserves a chance." That night, Kino is summoned once more. He steps into Varvara's room, soaked in blood-stained seas. Dia's lifeless body sprawled on the floor. Without blinking, Varvara hands Kino a knife. "Kill yourself," she commands. Her voice ice cold. "Prove you're ready for the booge." Kino stares at the blade, hesitating just as Kino raises the knife to his chest. Varvara stops him. A cold smile spreads across her face. "You no longer fear death," she whispers. "You are ready." In that moment, Kino de Zantarak is born. That's the name she gives him. His new identity, his rebirth as a full-fledged elite crow. But the transformation isn't complete yet. To seal it, Varvara forces him to inhale Wool, the potent chemical that boosts the crow's strength and permanently binds them to their order. Tarak breathes it in, and his fate is sealed. Back at the trading post, Moses tosses Ilya the keys to his truck, eager to enjoy some time with a local woman. Ilya steps outside into the open air. He takes a deep breath and activates the now fully repaired Atlantean cube. Instantly, a glowing map emerges in front of him. Floating in midair, it's the path to the Ark. But before they can leave, danger storms in a squad of crow soldiers bursts into the trading post. The cube flashes red. Danger detected. Combat mode activated. It shifts in Ilya's hands, reshaping into a deadly weapon. He sprints inside, finding Bracca wounded and Moses pinned. As three crows interrogate them, without hesitation, Ilya unleashes a devastating energy blast, striking one of the crows down. The others briefly back away in fear, but the cube's power drops fast, and it powers down. The crows snarl, weapons drawn again. Ilya grabs Moses, and they make a break for it, leaping into the truck and speeding away. With the cube now guiding them in navigation mode, they race toward the mysterious Ark, their only hope. The next morning, Liv and the Crimsons get ready to depart. Before departing, Liv pulls Sam aside and urgently tells him about the hidden tunnel. "Use it to break David out," she insists. It's their only shot at saving him. Moments later, Liv and Gray climb into a vehicle and head straight for the crow barricade. As negotiations begin, the sky explodes with chaos. David's forces launch a surprise ambush. Bullets rain down, cutting through both crows and Crimsons alike. Even General Cameron falls in the massacre. In the middle of the bloodshed, Gray is hit. Liv grabs her, dragging her through the smoke and into a nearby building. But just as she thinks they're safe, David appears. He pleads with her. "Join me," he says, eyes full of desperation. She refuses to become what he's become. David stares at her and lets her go. Meanwhile, Kino stands in the ring, heart pounding. The BG match is about to begin and his opponent steps into the light. It's Jakob, his father. Both freeze in disbelief. But Jakob charges forward, whispering, "You must kill me or they'll kill us both." Kino can't do it. He drops his guard. In a heartbreaking act of love, Jakob grabs Kino's hand and drives the blade into his own chest. He collapses, sacrificing himself so his son can live. Kino wins, but it feels like defeat. Later, Varvara delivers the final twist. It was the one who exposed Jakob's identity. With that, she formally inducts Kino now to rack into the crows in a circle. Elsewhere, Liv and a dying Gray stagger through the woods, but Gray's wounds are too severe. She dies in Liv's arms. Alone and exhausted, Liv is discovered by a mysterious all-female tribe, the Femen, who silently take her in. Far away, Ilya and Moses finally reach the edge of a vast, endless lake. But the cube suddenly shuts down. The trail ends here. Frustrated beyond words, Ilya hurls the cube into the water. But instead of sinking, the cube hangs in midair, gently humming, then dives beneath the surface. Out of nowhere, the water begins to tremble and then it splits apart like magic. From the deep, a massive cube-shaped structure emerges, towering above them like a monument from another world. A door slowly opens, and the small cube floats back out, glowing and pulsing, waiting for them. Without a word, Ilya and Moses step inside. The door seals shut. The giant ark descends back into the depths, disappearing beneath the waves, taking them to a world no one's ever seen.